gotta build a wall around you, B.
Welcome to Culture Screen, where we analyze culture. In this episode, we are summarizing the 10th episode from Season 1 of the Wire series titled The Cost. The episode first aired on August 11th, 2002. In the beginning, Bubbles is sitting on a park bench pondering life. Wallen, his sponsor at the Narcotics Anonymous meetings, spots him, and he gives Bubbles some much-needed advice. After the shootout from the prior episode, we see Avon has reconsidered Stringer Bell's idea that they fake a truce with Omar. They meet up with Weebay to speak about reaching out to Omar as a way of finally luring him out. Stringer Bell also advises Avon to disappear for a while and allow him to keep an eye on the business as a way of protecting him. Stringer believes Omar almost got to Avon because he is too involved when he should play a background role, much like a king on a chessboard. In another scene, we see D'Angelo is out home shopping with the mother of his son, Dawnette. D'Angelo does not give her the money she needs for the apartment, and instead he heads over to Orlando's club to find Chardine. After Chardine exits the club, D'Angelo tries to speak to her, but she walks away and refuses to chat with D'Angelo. In another scene, Orlando buys drugs off of an undercover detective named Troy Wiggins. As a result of this, Orlando is arrested and charged. He ends up trying to use Avon's name as a way of dodging the criminal charges. As soon as Orlando lands in the county jail, he is spotted by Marvin Browning, a Barksdale crew member serving time in the same jail. He calls up the crew to let them know Orlando is in the county jail with him. Later on, Avon's lawyer, Levi, shows up at the county jail and he goes to visit Orlando. Levi clarifies to Orlando that he is not there to work with or assist him, and he is only there to have him sign to remove his name from the liquor license. Levi also shares that Avon is no longer going to communicate or do business with him going forward. As we catch up with the detectives, we see McNulty heads over to visit Judge Fallon. We see Fallon is not his usual self. According to Rhonda Perlman, Fallon is not being considered on the mayor's re-election campaign, and this has made him very upset as of late. Back at the office, Detective Freeman has discovered the payphone near the location of the Barksdale stash house. Freeman finds out about the payphone because every time the crew requires a resupply, also known as a re-up, they page and call from the same phone number. We see the crew continues to do exactly what Stringer Bell told them not to do. In another scene, as Detective Herc is at a training course for the week, Carver and Sidnor are the two left to monitor the wire. Sidnor ends up locating someone on the payphone, and Detective Santangelo uses the tower phone to identify the person is in fact Little Man. Sidnor receives a command to follow from Freeman. Sidnor tracks him down to a home out in the suburbs.
You wanted to be in the game, right?
Remember, I am summarizing the entire series, so subscribe and click on the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. I will be reviewing other TV shows and movies in the future as well. Drop a comment below of your favorite scene from this episode.
Now you're in the game.
When Sidnor arrives, he notices the house is well defended with alarm systems and security cameras. Later on, Freeman arranges for Sidnor and Presbeluski to pretend to be garbage men so they have a chance at stealing the bag trash in order to inspect it. Later on, Lieutenant Daniels and Perlman catch up with Detectives Kima Greggs and McNulty to discuss how they can best manage Orlando to get intel on the Barksdale organization. They end up agreeing that they should have him buy and sell from other members as a way of moving up the Barksdale chain of command. As we catch up with Wallace, McNulty teams up with Officer Brown to keep an eye on Wallace. McNulty ends up bringing Wallace in for an interrogation, and he is quick to talk about the Barksdale crew. We see he has been deeply affected by the trauma of being involved in the Brandon case. Wallace speaks about how Weebay, Stringer Bell, and others kidnapped and got rid of Brandon. Lieutenant Daniels ends up sitting in and hears Wallace's testimony. Rhonda Perlman speaks to the crew about where Wallace can sleep until he can be brought to trial. His grandmother's house is suggested as the best option since the city is out of protection custody funds. Daniels sees firsthand as Wallace is going through withdrawal while he drives Wallace to where he'll be staying. In another scene, McNulty learns that his wife, Elena, is taking him to court. She essentially wants to limit McNulty's visitation rights to their 2 sons. When McNulty tries to convince Elena that he truly loves her and their sons, she swiftly reminds him that she has a photo of him cheating on her with Rhonda Perlman. The judge ends up dismissing the court proceeding and instructs them to handle this matter on their own accord. As we catch up with Omar, we see he meets up with Stringer Bell in a busy public location for his own safety. They meet thanks to Proposition Joe, coordinating the meetup and guaranteeing their safety. Omar and Stringer speak about coming to peace with each other. Omar is wearing a wire for the meeting, and as the detectives listen, they don't get much information because of how careful Stringer Bell is with what he says. When Omar asks Stringer about the death of Brandon, Stringer does not deny being involved in his demise, and he quickly protects Avon's name from being involved in their conversation. After his conversation with Stringer Bell, Omar does not believe the truce is legitimate. This prompts him to head to New York to hide for a while. McNulty goes with him as he boards the bus, and he tells him to stay in touch. As we catch up with Lieutenant Daniels, we see he is pushed by Irvin Burrell to set up a meeting where they can use Orlando to buy drugs from the Barksdale crew. Kima Greggs is set to be the undercover officer during the deal. When Savino meets up with Orlando, they drive over to an undisclosed location where they will make the deal. Kima is sitting in the back seat, and she tries to give her location over the radio. Savino ends up suspecting something is a bit odd about Kima Greggs, and he turns up the volume in the car. When Savino arrives at the location, he exits the vehicle and disappears into an alleyway. Kima gets nervous when she sees 2 figures moving toward them wearing hoodies. Before she can make a move, Orlando is taken out by the 2 men. As Kima tries reaching for her weapon, she is unable to reach it, and she uses her radio to call Signal 13, which is code for "I need assistance." The detectives try reaching her, but are unable to find her quick enough because the street signs have been swapped out by the Barksdale crew members as a way of throwing off the cops. By the time the detail arrives at the crime scene, Orlando is no longer alive, and Kima has been hit multiple times, but she is still alive.
We're gonna start picking up pieces of Barksdale's world we never even knew about.
That was episode number 10, titled The Cost. To watch the next or previous episode summary, click on the link in the description or at the end of this video. If you would like to see our still photos of these episode summaries, make sure to follow us on Instagram. If you can, please support us on Patreon. It really goes a long way toward helping us grow this channel. I will see you on the next one.
He tried to go in my pockets again?
We upload new videos every week, so subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. Click the notification bell to be notified of when we upload these videos. See you on the next episode of Culture Screen.